Do you think the church is a distinct entity from the Jewish people? Certainly from the 2nd century to the present, Christians have viewed the church as a new entity that has either temporarily or permanently replaced Israel as God's people. But is this how Jesus and the apostles described the church? What is the church? To find out, let's look a little closer. Firstly, the word church in our English Bibles is a translation of the Greek word ekklesia, which is just the normal Greek word for assembly. So there's actually no good reason for our English translators to use the word church, since a more accurate translation would be assembly or congregation. In reference to Peter correctly identifying him as the Messiah, Jesus said in Matthew 16:18, "I say to you that you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church." But remember, the word translated as church simply means assembly, a gathering of people. So Jesus has an assembly or a community of people who confess him as Messiah. This is the most basic definition of the church, a gathering of people who confess Jesus as the Messiah. But is this assembly distinct from the Jewish people? Of course not. All of Jesus' first followers were Jewish, and they certainly saw themselves as a continuation of the historic Jewish people. In Acts 7:38, Stephen, a Greek-speaking Jew, referred to the generation of Israelites who lived during the time of Moses as the ekklesia in the wilderness. While ekklesia is normally translated as church by our English translators, here in Acts 7:38, most translations have the congregation in the wilderness. Why can't our translators consistently translate the word ekklesia one way or the other? Is it because they don't want to imply that Christians are connected to the historic Jewish people? In any event, the reality is that the apostles viewed God's people as being Israel, along with Gentile believers who joined them. In fact, Paul clearly said in Ephesians 3:6 that through the Gospels, the Gentiles are heirs together with Israel, members together of one body, and shares together in the promise of the Messiah Jesus. The body of the Messiah is made up of believing Israel and believing Gentiles. So there's no way you can say that the church is distinct from the Jewish people, since the church is made up of believing Jewish people and Gentiles. The so-called church is the Messiah of Israel's assembly or community of Jewish and Gentile followers. So the church, or the Messiah's assembly, is certainly not distinct from Israel. For more videos, click on the subscribe link above or subscribe to us at youtube.com/messianicniagara, like us on Facebook at facebook.com/messianicniagara, and visit our website, messianicniagara.com.